Okay, so the other guy comment, I just got to tell you guys, I do so many calls, I talk to so many customers like, oh, you're in the videos. I'm like, yeah. You the guy with the beard? No. You're the other guy. So I am the other guy.
Getting called that. Hey, everybody, welcome to the PDQ A. So we're hoping to, this is more of just a general PDQ, and to a degree, ancillary IT webcast. So just go ahead and throw your questions out. We'll answer them. We are going to be going off of PDQ Deploy 14 Release 2, so 14.2 on our examples here. And we are going off of Inventory 14, beta 2 of 14. So, nice. Yeah, some of the things that we might answer are going to look a little different.
All right. Let's hit it.
Hi, guys. I need a collection or report which shows all Windows NICs which have a speed setting of 10 megabits only. Is this possible with an SQL report? Sincerely, Timo S.
Okay, with an SQL report, well, we don't, that, number one, that is not, that property, the speed is not grabbed natively by our NIC scanner.
Yeah.
Right? But that doesn't mean that you can't grab it. You just might have to utilize something like, we got Chris over here looking excited. Chris is doing the phone a friend. So what do you have, Chris?
Yeah, so
custom fields.
We're gonna have to do custom fields here. I'm gonna in the chat here. Here you go. There's a link. I think that's to the blog, my correct blog. There's a blog to essentially take any information you want and to create it as a custom field, and then create the CSV and then import that in using the command line interface for PDQ Inventory for the import custom fields wizard, and get that in there. So what you're going to have to do is there's two ways to do this. I think there's a built-in commandment from Windows 8 onward called getNetAdapter, and one of the properties on that is speed. It's going to be in, I believe, bits per second. It's easy to find out, maths.
Yeah, but easy enough to do the conversion if you want.
And so on top of that, if you don't have Windows 8 or newer, I think all that's doing is pulling from a WMI class Win32 network adapter, and the same information stored there. So just get that information, wrap it up in a CSV, create the custom field, import with the import wizard. You don't even have to do this from the command line. I just prefer that, and my blog is on that.
Okay.
And then
is this blog going to be in the bonus content?
I just pasted it.
You pasted it in the chat. So go ahead and check out. Hey, Timo. Once again, Timo coming in from across the pond. Thanks, buddy.
While Chris was answering that, I made a custom field and I opened the custom import wizard. So just so you guys know, that's where that's at.
Check out that blog. And then somebody make a note. Let's take a peek. Maybe there's some native additional properties that we can grab from our NIC scanner. All right, so make a note about that. Thank you, Timo.
Dear electrifying gurus, how can we create a dynamic collection in PDQ Inventory based on a WMI filter? For instance, to find out if a Dell computer has Wake-On-LAN enabled. Select from nerd numeration where blah blah equals Wake-On-LAN. When is Lex going to show us how to deploy shock a user via PDQ? Thank you in advance, Andrew S.
So it's a little twofer
on that one.
All right, well, natively there's not a WMI filter scanner like we have a registry scanner or a file scanner.
Again, I think it's very similar to the last question. You can pull that using PowerShell, collect that data, and then put it in.
You're still looking at a custom field at this point, yeah. We are, by the way, looking at ways of extending, natively extending some WMI abilities into inventory, but that's as far as I can go right now. Right at this point, because that doesn't exist, if you can't grab that from the NIC scanner, if you can't grab that for NIC properties that we collect, or you can't grab that in the registry. Now, keep in mind, a lot of WMI properties they have registry values that are also out there. Maybe if there's a registry value that you can grab, you can throw that into a registry scanner and then natively report on that.
Yeah,
but at this point, we wouldn't have that, minus using the custom field. So.
Now, as for the deploy and shock an end user, the problem Chris and I had was just too much amperage. So got to get that under control, and then we'll show you. Chris, yeah?
Oh, yeah, 2 lawsuits later, and geez, God.
So got to be,
You shock 3 end users, and you're branded for life.
Yep, I don't know what it is.
You just have to go into hiding.
Hi friends, is there a way for me to disable any deployments to specific PCs? I have a group of EBBs, electronic bulletin boards, that I'd love to inventory, but I don't want deployments to ever be sent to them. A blacklist, for example. Sincerely, Nick P.
Absolutely.
I'm going to remove, hello Nick, I'm going to remove the word any deployments and replace it with all.
There we go.
Okay, because this is a setting. If you're using this in central server, it's going to affect all the consoles that attach to it. If you're doing this on your console, basically go to your preferences. I'm going to remove inventory here because this is kind of
in the way.
So in deploy, I want you to go to options, preferences. If you're using an older version, it's going to be file preferences. And you're going to see target filters. Target filters, this is how you can specify computers or even entire subnets that you never want to have deployments sent to. So you could also say, something like I think you said EBB. So let's say that your computers began with, their computer names began with EBB. You could do an EBB splat and add that filter. And then any target that begins with EBB, regardless of whatever else is in the name, you try to deploy to that and it will immediately fail, saying the reason is because of target filters.
Yep.
And this is, you can see we've got a few things in here. We have file server, we have anything that's DC splat, because our DCs are named,
We don't want to, I want to.
named DC, whatever. Just computers that you just never ever want under any circumstance this deployment to go out to. So that's how you would do that. It's target filters. You do see, that's in the exclusions tab. You do see an inclusions tab. I've only known one customer that's ever needed this, and that's where they only wanted to deploy to computers that began with, I think it was like WS for workstation, WS splat. And so this is obviously works the other way around. If you use this, chances are you won't. Whatever you deploy to has to exist.
These criteria, yeah.
I could see throwing a subnet in there if you
I
only
could
ever
do
want to
that,
go to one particular subnet. And by the way, if you want to do a subnet, like you could do 10.1.2.0/ and then whatever your subnet mask is, like that right there. Add filter. And then it will tell you, in this case, only machines that exist will ever be deployed, because we're in the inclusions field. And then just hit delete button, highlight that and hit delete when you want to lose it. So I'll delete EBB. There we go. That's how you do that.
Dear Shane and Lex, how can I run an inventory for Google Chrome Enterprise not installed on computers or any other software not installed / missing on the network? Sincerely, Nasir K.
Keep that question up for a second. I'm going to try to follow. Okay. How can I run inventory for Chrome that's not installed, easy enough, on computers or any other software? Okay, so basically he's like for Chrome and then any other software that's not installed. You have an amazing cheat sheet. Hi, Nasir. You have an amazing cheat sheet. I'm going to go back over here to inventory.
You'll take a look at our collection library. And in the collection library, you can actually open up and see the filters we've used. And you can see how and this would be kind of a negating of, let's include everybody that has Chrome and then send me everybody who's not in that list.
Correct.
That's basically what the filter is going to say.
So if we're looking at this collection shows us computers that have Chrome, right? This shows us the ones that have the latest. There's nothing in there.
Apparently, I need
machines that are the old.
Yeah.
Well, we are now on the new web domain, so we don't have as many computers here. These are the old. Old is very simple. Now we're going to be looking at variables here, so don't get overwhelmed by that. But basically, we're saying you have an application that says Google Chrome or contains Google Chrome, and the version is lower than this.
Now the other thing, if you hover over that X on the side, you can see what that.
Yep, you can see
right there.
It's kind of getting cut off.
61. It's off the edge. Yeah.
If you ever highlight that, you'll see it'll expand that variable so you can see the value. Here we're saying, show us any computer that has this. It starts with Google Chrome, the application name, and is lower than that version. But when you're talking about showing that don't have installed, notice we've got this not installed, and this is where it gets a little bit more confusing. So here we're saying look for any computer. Notice this not any right there. in what's called our group filter. Usually the group filter is set to all. We have changed that, and this is the collection library, so I can't change that here. But you usually change that from like an all or not all to a not any. And so we're saying look for all the computers and return any computer that does not have an application named Google Chrome. By using that not any, so that we're still saying it matches this. It's looking for Google Chrome, but by saying it does not. By saying return everything and then give us all the computers that are not returned.
Yes.
That's the negating. And then because if a computer has never before scanned any software and you're negating this, then a computer that has nothing in the applications page would pass this. Yeah. Because it would say, yeah, I don't have any application that says Google Chrome. In fact, I don't have any application. So what we do is also add an extra filter, this one under an all, so all of these have to return true, and that is, and there's a value called never scanned. We have that say it's false. So this removes the computers that have never been scanned, but also any computer that doesn't have Chrome. And you would just change that. So if you don't want to find computers, we can do this very fast.
Don't want to find.
So I'm going to just create,
I love it, man.
You're awesome. I'm going to go create a new dynamic collection. And then here we'll just say no Firefox.
Okay.
Okay. Here we'll just change this from computer to application. The name contains, actually with Firefox you can say starts with. So notice it looks like I'm saying that we're looking for computers that have this, Mozilla Firefox. So if I say okay to this, it's going to show us computers that have Firefox. There's no Firefox right there. These actually have Firefox. I'm going to change this to a not any. And then these are the computers that don't have it.
Firefox.
All right?
Yep.
So keep that in mind. And then go back to what I said about removing computers that have never had any inventory scan.
We've got some really great advanced collection videos out on our video library, guys. So check them out there. And it's a plug and play, or a play it and stop it. Right along.
Popular question.
Yep.
Dearest PD cuties, how would I go about making a new dynamic collection for PCs that are members of a collection library collection, like Skype, old, as well as one of my custom static collections? Thanks, Monica K.
Flattery will get you everywhere. That's the first comment.
I'm just reading this. Go about making a dynamic collection. So you...
it's going to be part of 2 collections? Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah, so she's saying, so they're in, for example, Skype old, and then she's got another collection, another static collection. And really, the type of collection, while you can filter on that, it's still just a collection. So you probably don't have to break it down like that. But that's where you would do, did she say, go back, open that question to you. Did she say a SQL report?
No,
just a dynamic collection. Okay.
Okay.
Well, first of all, in right now we're running the beta, right? Of we are running the beta of inventory. Yeah, let's go to all computers here. So one of the reasons I want to bring that up, let's just grab one here, Beth. Grab this one. There's a new collections right there. You can grab. This shows all the collections that this computer, in this case Beth, is a member of. All right, so you could ostensibly filter here if you want to. You can hit the Control F and do the advanced filtering. That's one way of doing it. But it'd be very similar. You'd create a new dynamic collection. Member of whatever.
Member of whatever. I like that software. Whatever.
Yeah, and since you're going to want to be breaking these up in a couple of different subgroups or group filters. So I'm going to create a new one. I always, in this case, I made sure I collected that top level so that it was created right below that. It gets really important as you're narrowing down that you're placing these in the right area. So we could do something like any. We'll move this down and say I don't want to spend too long on this. collection is member, and then you can choose click the ellipsis, and you can choose whether it's a collection library or whatever. You can choose both of those, so you'd have two filters. That would show you if it's one of either of them. There's a couple of extra steps if you want to show that it's in both of them. Hit us up. So it takes a little while to show that. Hit us up offline, Monica, if you want to see that. But that's really how you would do it. I like to go to the computer table and then go to collection, because it's Boolean. It's is member or is not a member, and then you can specify the collection. And even if you change that collection's name later on, this will still work, because even though you're mapping a collection name, we're actually using the collection ID, which does not change when you rename or move a collection. Only when you delete it, you'll lose that ID.
Dear Shane and Lex, in PDQ Inventory, is it possible to see when a computer/server went offline? Sincerely, Heinrich E. Also, my friends call me Heinricky.
Heinricky.
Hello.
To see when it went offline, like as in a timestamp it went offline at this time?
Yeah. The only way I can think of, natively, you'll be able to see the computer shows that it's online. Let's go ahead and show the screen now. Obviously, we have our online column, but there's also the little green icon for being online, and then if there's anything that's offline that we can see, I don't see that there is. It will show it as far. Oh, here's one. So notice that this S16 Preview 2 is set to offline. We don't know when that went offline. We don't track that. But that doesn't mean that when the computer is accessible again, you can't find it. You just have to do some work. You can go to the event log.
Now, this is as of the last heartbeat. So whatever your heartbeat schedule's on, if it's 300 seconds, the next 300 seconds, if the machine comes on like right now in the next 300 seconds, yes, that should change. But
as far as seeing when, it's going to be somewhat, I think that this is probably going to mostly happen on servers. If you're like, hey, I want to know when this went offline, if it went offline cleanly, doing a shutdown process, that information will be logged in the event log. Go out to that computer and say, oh, there was a shutdown initiated by this user at this time, and that will answer your question. If it just shut down, you wouldn't be able to tell until it came back up and logged, hey, this computer didn't shut down gracefully. But no, we don't track that.
Dearest Shane and Lex, does PDQ Inventory have a cleanup method for machines no longer on the domain? If a machine is not found in Active Directory, does it remove it automatically, or is this a manual process so the reporting remains accurate? Thanks, Jorlando D.
Hello, Orlando.
Hey, man.
Orlando. The answer, you want to take it?
I was going to say it depends on how you've got your Active Directory sync set up. So if you go to Preferences, we can show you where you can go take a look at how you've got it set up. Under Active Directory, you'll see the sync mode, full sync, delete computers when they're not part.
This is what he's talking about here. So in Preferences, Active Directory, your delete mode is very important. Full sync you use full sync if Active Directory is the final word on what computers should or should not be on your network or in inventory. If it is the final word, in other words, you don't have computers that are outside of Active Directory, then do full sync. The other delete modes, there is a mixed sync. That means you've got computers that may be in Active Directory, may be out, or they may be in your synced containers, still in Active Directory, but outside of containers that you're syncing, and you still want to have them. That's where you do mixed. The default is import only, and this is what gets a lot of people. So they might use Active Directory, or they might do the add computer Active Directory. Throw these computers into inventory, and then as they're deleted, they're never automatically removed. That's where it becomes manual. So if you change this to full sync or mixed, and it's in your sync containers, when that object gets removed from Active Directory, it will get cleaned up here, and it gets cleaned up based off of this sync every value. So in this case, we've got it set to sync every day. You can change that to sync every hour if you want. I think the lowest that you can go down, I think the lowest 20 minutes? Is it 15?
It's like 10, I think.
Okay.
But I do want to call out, though, just for those who kind of shudder in fear at the word delete. When we say delete, we mean delete from our database and inventory, not delete from Active Directory, because that's a common misconception.
Yeah, we never make any changes to Active Directory from within inventory. All we're doing is saying, hey, we see this is out there, depending on how you have your sync. We're going to copy it down. Oh, it's been moved to a non-synced these are the synced containers. It's been moved to a non-synced container, so we're going to remove it from here. But it's not getting removed from AD. It's only getting removed from your database. You're going to want to hit your Active Directory sync, Orlando. That's definitely what you're going to want to do.
Dear Shane and Lex, what is the best way to put some of my machines into a group so I can deploy a package to that group or set up a schedule for that group? Could you create a new filter based on a set of machines in an OU for the new machines automatically added in the future? Thanks, Morgan.
A couple of questions there. All right, so when you say group, that can mean a number of things. Are you talking about a security group in Active Directory? I'm not sure. Or are you talking about a collection? Best way to put some of my machines into a group so I can deploy a package to that group or set up a schedule for it. So in collections, create a collection, whether it's static or dynamic. If you're talking about an Active Directory group, then yes, you can have security groups that contain computer objects. Group, by default, Active Directory is expected to hold like user objects. So you actually have to change the type when you're creating that group or populating it, saying this is going to contain computers. Throw computers in there because we track that on those computers, and you can say yes, this computer is in this group.
So the other thing, you can also just select. I mean, you can schedule from Active Directory. You can go pick groups out of Active Directory.
Do you guys on this new one? Do we have any group? We need to
I don't know, man.
If you have any groups, you'll notice the group. No, we don't. You'll notice the group.
Subgroups of these.
Yeah, the security group. You'll see that icon, as long as it contains computers. We're not concerned about users. So we have a lot of customers that do populate Active Directory security groups with computers, and yes, those can be targets. Now, pop up that question again because there was a second one. We keep on getting these twofers. You guys flush it already?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
No, that one
flushed it, but
that was the wrong one.
The other one was to show computers that are automatically added.
Yep.
So
We're getting it. Here we go.
you can build a dynamic collection off of these Active Directory OUs.
Yes, you can. In fact, if you going back to inventory, by default, in preferences, no, I think we got it.
Okay. All that work.
If you have these two checked right here, go ahead and zoom in there, JJ. If you have these created, or more particularly that bottom one, if you have those created, then we will create collections based on OUs that contain computers and groups that contain computers. We don't show OUs or groups that do not contain computer objects. If there's sub-OUs, then at least one of the sub-OUs has to contain a computer that's in our inventory for us to show it. But if that's the case, notice we've got AA Labs. That is, this is a domain, and we can see these are OUs that we are grabbing. So AA Computers doesn't have anything, but its subgroups do. We've got Windows 8 has a handful of those. Okay, so those are automatically created, and of course, as Lex said, you can create your own collections even more based off of security groups and OUs. The answer is yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can
yes.
also have a dynamic group that shows computers that have an added to the domain and added to in the last week or something, and that way it is dynamic. As they get older than a week, they'll get booted out.
Booted out, yep.
Dear Shane and Lex, I am facing a big problem. Deploy over VPN. I have computers that connect only via VPN, and of these computers, oh, hang on, this is not his first language.
Okay.
And these computers are seen as offline, but they are not. How to solve this problem? Thanks, Jose M.
All right. So until we get until we address this natively, we treat. Remember, we're effectively agentless, or we're an on-demand agent. So we have to be able to communicate via SMB, which is Windows File and Printer Sharing, to these computers. We have a lot of customers that do manage computers over a VPN, but what they have to do, whatever VPN platform they're using, they have to say allow file and print sharing. We have to access the admin dollar share on the target computers, regardless of how they're coming into the network. So if they're on VPN and they're showing us offline, that means you've probably got the ICMP echo request That's turned off, so you can't ping them. And then you turn that on, and also enable file and printer sharing, so that you can manage those computers over VPN. It's the same requirements whether you're connecting to a computer next to yours on the LAN or over VPN. We have to have file and printer sharing access to those computers.
What was that, Chris?
Yeah, so I'm over here nodding. Thanks for eye contact. Also, one thing to add to that, at least in my last place with our VPN, we only had one-way set up for those connecting over VPN can contact our corporate network, but within the corporate network cannot contact the VLAN that we had set up for those who were remoting in. And so be sure to set that up on your firewall to have those firewall rules added. So even in addition to having the file and printer sharing, you need to make sure that you can actually route traffic to them.
Your VPN's got to be able to take care of that.
Yeah, I would. You're definitely going to need to attack this from the VPN configuration point of view.
Dear Shane and Lex, in PDQ Inventory Add Computers, will any future release have a search feature to locate computers easier in the list? I have over 2,000 PCs now, and it gets a little tedious browsing through the list. Thanks, Bobby. My friends call me Robert L.
In a very, 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 very near release. In fact, we have it on right now in the second. This is beta 2 of 14. So PDQ Inventory 14 is coming out very soon, and you can grab the beta now. But let's go over here to computer. You're talking about Add Computer.
Computers, yep.
And but if you go to Active Directory Sync, that just takes you to preferences that we had shown you earlier. This is how to add a computer from Active Directory, just a one-timer. And notice we've got that very filter right there. So here you're saying, I want to look up test. Any computer that has test in the name.
Boom.
So the answer is yes. Sorry, that wasn't in there, but we're catching these as they come out.
Yep.
There is a new search feature, but it's in Inventory 14. We want to call out again, I mentioned this during the pre-show, got to mention this now. In deploy, probably in inventory as well. Since we changed our name, the company name from Admin Arsenal to PDQ.com, we're getting new certificates.
Yep.
So in order to grab new packages that are added after October 1st, you need to have at least deploy 14.2 installed.
Yeah.
Because 14.2 will look for Admin Arsenal, Signature, or PDQ.com. Previous versions will only look for Admin Arsenal. So we're getting new certificates. We're getting new certificates. Once again, if you have an older version before 14.2, you're not going to be able to see packages added after October 1st.
Yep. So upgrade, guys. Upgrade.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a quick way to see which admins are actively using licenses for inventory and or deploy at a given time, or even a log or stat of who is logging in to use it the most or least or average amount? We use Central Server. Thanks. Shaka Call. S.
Shaka Khan. Okay, so on the last bar, or even a log or a stat of who's logging in, we don't track that.
But
kind of interesting to have, but we don't have that. There is a way. You want to show it, Lex?
Go ahead, man.
All right, so
basically, what you're going to show is who's actually actively connected to the server at this point, who's taking up a seat.
So it is. What are we looking at? We have this set up in Central. Active sessions. So you want to go to console users. Oh, we got to remove that.
Anyway, but yeah, so you see we've got the console users. These are people who are approved to use this, and then active sessions, we've just got the one.
So here, the active sessions will tell you who's on right now. So if we had if there were other consoles that were connected to this central server, you would see them and the computer from whence they came.
Yep.
All right. That's the tracking that we have right now. We certainly don't have any aggregate or hey, this Chris connected this many times, Lex this many for an average of. We don't have that, but go to options, console users, and then look at your active sessions or your current sessions.
And just so Chris doesn't get bored, Stephen V. has a Stump Kris question. How can I display the degree character in a PowerShell console session? I've yet to find a good answer. Thanks, Stephen V.
Do you know the answer?
Without looking at the ASCII code for it, no.
The car map?
But just if you load up car map, you'll see it. If you pull up character map, if I recall, the degree character actually has two ways to do this. But on there, you just find it, select it. It'll be alt something, something, something. In the bottom right.
You see it? Degree?
Right in the middle. I see it. Yeah.
Show me. I can't. Oh, there.
Right above the A's. Yeah.
Yeah. So the it's Alt 0176.
Yeah. So if you open up a PowerShell console and type Alt 0176, there you go. It's there.
What was that noise again?
It's
I can't even do that. Oh, that one. Okay.
I've had. It's been a while, but I used to have to. I used to have to hit car map all the time.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there's a few I have memorized because they're fun, but other than that,
It's another sociological question, such as we call it car map. We don't say char, right? But we see car, but we would pronounce it character.
Yeah.
You still never hear it called care map.
Care map.
because we don't care.
We're gonna
map.
Car map, but it's like the word rabbit. It's like rabies. We say rabies, but we don't say rabid. I've heard a few scientists say rabid.
Sounds very British.
He wasn't a Brit.
He's not.
Do we have any more questions before we wrap this up? All right, thank you very much. Remember, upgrade to the latest inventory and deploy. It's going to be very important after October, so that everything we're grabbing on those packages in the package library, those are all signed. With our
Keep you guys safe. So.
And because we changed the name, the new certificates come out, PDQ.com, so you're going to need to have at least 14.2, not just 14 release 2 or later to be able to access new packages after October 1st. Rock on, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
See you later.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Morgan M. and Andrew S., winners of PDQ Swag. Also, Wesley W., winner of our PDQ Vintage Floppy Coaster. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. And don't forget, join us next week. We'll be talking about PDQ Inventory 14. Yeah, 14 is going to be a good one. Thanks for being here. We'll see you back here next week.